All right, so we're going to do this together. I'm going to take my time and do this with you because it's an assignment and you need to have this done, right? So let's do this. Okay, so first of all, with this first one here, we need to distribute the 8. 8 times x is 8x. You know what? Let me go with blue. 8x. 8 times 5, that's a negative 40. 2 times, now we have to distribute on this side too. 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times 8 is 16. Now we are going to subtract 6x from both sides. And when we subtract that 6x, we get 2x minus 40 equals nothing there, negative 16. And then we are going to add 40 to both sides. Okay, leaving us with just 2x on this side equals, and negative 16, I think it's 24, but let me double check. Negative 16 plus 40 is 24, positive 24. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals 12. Now, if you want credit for this assignment, this is what I'm going to look for. Did you do the work? Okay. Next question. When there's a negative in front of a parenthesis, the negative needs to be distributed. So the 167 won't change. Negative times negative 7x. Negative 3 equals 108. Now we're going to combine our terms that are alike. The 167 and the negative 3 are going to go together. So the negative 7x won't change. The 108 won't change. Positive 167 and a negative 3, we're going to put those together into one number, which would be 164, and it's positive. We're going to subtract 164 from both sides. And we get 108 minus 164 is negative 56. Negative 7x. Divide both sides by a negative 7. I think that's 8, isn't it? X equals positive 8. Okay, so there's your first two questions. If you're playing this on the big screen, somebody can pause it. If you're playing it on your computers, you can pause it if I go too fast. All right, this one here. First, let's combine everything on the top together. That plus, now the plus distributes, which means it won't change those signs. So I can ignore the those parentheses there because that plus will not change the signs. Okay, let me see if I can make this a little bit better. All right, so I can go like this. I can say I'm going to ignore that parenthesis and that parenthesis because that distribute that positive, it won't change the signs. Okay. All right, so on the top I have 3x and an 11x. Together makes a 14x. I've got a positive 15 but a negative 5, which makes a positive 10. It's over 2 equals 47. Now there's two ways we could do this. I could divide both these by 2, which would be fine. I get 7x plus 5 equals 47. Or I could multiply both sides by 2, like this. And if I do that, then I'm going to end up with 14x plus 10 equals, right, because this 2 cancels. Okay? 47 times 2 is 94, I think. 47 times 2. Yep, 94. I'm going to subtract my 10 from both sides. And I get 14x equals 84. And that should come out evenly if I divide both sides by 14. 84 divided by 14 is 6. Okay. All right. Next one here. Same thing except this time when the negative distributes on the top, this becomes a negative 3x. and this becomes a positive. So I could try to, let me try to do it this way. I'm going to distribute that negative, and just because of space here, negative times 3 is a negative 3. But when I distribute the negative to the 14, it becomes a positive 14. Okay? So let me show that again. If I distribute that negative, negative times a 3 is a negative 3. Negative times a negative 14 is a positive 14. Okay? All right, so now we're going to combine some terms that are like this. 2x minus 7, nothing's going to happen with it. 8x minus 3, that'd be 5x. Negative 47 plus a 14 is a negative 33. And this would be a perfect example why I would do the times 2, because if I tried to divide both these by 2, they wouldn't come out evenly. I get decimals, multiply both sides by 2 instead. And the 2's cancel on this side, multiply both those by 2. So 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 7, 14. On this side, we have a 5x minus 33. And then we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and add 33 to both sides. And then we're going to work it out here. 4x minus 4x is 0. Negative 14 plus 33 is 19. 5 minus 4 is 1, x. And that's it. X equals 19. All right, now these, it's just multiplying binomials we're doing. Some people call it this. We don't call it that anymore. It stands for first, outer, inner, last. That's what we used to always call it. Multiplying means we're going to double distribute, which means the x times the x is x squared. The x times the 1 minus x. Now we're going to do the 8. 8 times the x, 8x. 8 times the negative 1, negative 8. Now we're going to combine terms that are alike. Negative x and a positive 8 makes a 7x. And then we have a negative 8. Okay, notice we're not solving because there's no equal sign. We can't solve. It's just multiplying these. That's why it says multiplying. All right, let's do that again. 3x times x, 3x squared. 3x times 6. 3 times 6 is 18, so it'll be 18x. Minus 5x, right? Negative 5 times x. Negative 5 times 6, negative 30. Okay, so we got our 3x squared. The plus 18 minus 5 is 13. Minus 30. Hope I'm doing my math right. I'm not double checking myself. I apologize if any of these end up being incorrect. You may catch it while I'm doing it. 2x times 5x is 10x squared. 2x times negative 2 is minus 4x. Negative 7 times 5, negative 35. And then negative 7 times negative 2 is a positive 14. So we get 10x squared. Negative 4, negative 35 is negative 39 plus 14. All right, next one. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Okay, so I did the 2x. Now I do the 1. 1 times 2x is 2x. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So we have a 4x squared. Minus 2x plus 2x is 0. And all we have left is that minus 1. And we're going to look back at these in just a minute because we're going to do the opposite of what we're doing here in just a moment. X plus 9 squared means x plus 9 times x plus 9. Okay, so x times x, x squared, x times 9, 9x. Now the 9 times x, 9x, 9 times 9, 81. So we got x squared plus 9 is plus 18, and then plus 81. There we go. Okay, same thing for this one. 4x plus 3 squared means 4x plus 3 times 4x plus 3. Okay, 4x times 4x is 16x squared. 4x times 3 is 12x. Now the 3 times the 4, 12x again. 3 times 3 is 9. So we get 16x squared. 12x and 12x makes 24x. And then we have a 9. All right, now we're doing the opposite of what we just did. And so it's probably been a year since you've done this. So let's look back here. Notice that the end of number 5 looks like this, x squared plus 7x minus 8. And it came from x plus 8, x minus 1. Okay? So the goal is to think in reverse how we got that in these next questions. So for example, I know it's going to be like this. I also know that this first term, this x squared, if I look back here, notice the first term came from the first term, which was from the first number times the first number, x times x. That's where I got that. So I go, okay, if it's an x squared, it's got to be an x, and it's got to be an x. The last term, let's look back here, a negative 8. Where did this negative 8 come from? It came from right there. This negative 8 came from the last number times the last number. Positive 8 times a negative 1 gave me a negative 8. That's where that came from. So here I can go, well, gosh, I could go 1 and a 21. 1 times 21 is 21. And I could go positive times a positive. And you might think, well, there we go, we got it. But you should always, in fact, with these, always test it. Okay? X times x is x squared, x times 21, 21x, 1 times x, 1x, 1 times 21 plus 21. 21 plus 1, that's 22. Is that what the middle number is? Is it a 22? No, it is not. So does this work? No, it does not. So what does that mean? It means you have to try something different. Okay? 21, that's not the only way we can get a 21. We could also do what? A 7 and a 3. Now you may already go, oh, this might make sense because 7 plus 3 is 10. So let's try it. X times x, x squared, plus 3x, plus 7x, plus 21. 7x and 3x, does that make that 10 in the middle? It sure does. Does that work? Yes, it does. Okay? So that is how you factor. Let's try the next one. X squared again. So I know it's going to be an x and an x. To get a 36, well, gosh, I could do 6 times 6, right? So you get x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 36. Does that work? We got 2 problems. That makes a 12 in the middle. Is that what this is? Nope. And this 36 is positive. Is that what we got here? Nope. So we got 2 problems, don't we? So it's not going to be that. So let's try something different, okay? So we know it's not going to be plus 6 plus 6. We can also get a 9 and a 4. We could also do a 12 and a 3, right? What do we think here? What could you do? Are there any other options? Anybody got any ideas? Huh? Nothing? You don't got nothing? What could it be? How about 18 and 2? Now you might go, where in the world did that come from? Well, that's another way to get 36. But I picked 18 and 2 because anyway, 18 plus 2 isn't 16, I know. But notice we have a negative here, which means the only way we can get a negative 36 is one of these has to be a negative. And I could put it here, or I could put it here. I'm going to put it here and put this one positive. I'm going to go, Mr. Harmless, how did you know to do that? Well, let's try it. Honestly, just practice. X times x is x squared minus 2x plus 18x. Is it going to work? Negative 36. So notice, negative 2 and a plus 18 makes a positive 16. Okay? So you're going to have to do some trial and error with these. Okay? I can get these pretty quick, but honestly, just because I've done this a long time. Okay? If you count my high school years, more than 25 years. We're talking close to 30 years of doing these kind of questions. It gets easier the more you do them. Okay? All right. Let's try a few more of these. Let's try the next one here. All right, to get that x squared, we know it's got to be x. Now, there's a whole bunch of possibilities to get a 96, okay? So you have to think about what possibilities you're going to do to get that 96. And you can pause it and try first, or you can just cheat and go ahead and let me tell you. It's going to be a 24 times 4. That's what I'm going to go with. And they're both going to be negative. And the reason why they're both going to be negative is because a negative times a negative is a positive. And I notice that this middle one's a negative. And you're going to start to get these patterns. If they're both positive, they're both going to be positive. If the first one's positive and the second one is negative, they're going to have to be different signs. Okay? So here's the first key. If the second thing is positive, they have to be the same sign. Okay? If the first one is also positive, they both have to be positive. Okay? Notice what's here. Second sign is positive, means that they got to be the same sign. The first one's negative, which tells me they're going to be both negatives. Okay? Now, if the second one is negative, they're going to be different, and then which one it is, this is going to go, if it's positive, the bigger number is going to be the positive. Okay? I know that's a lot to take in. All right, so this is going to be x minus 24, x minus 4. If you try it, x squared, right? I'm not going to try it. You trust me. X squared minus 4x minus 24x is going to get that negative 28. 24 times 4 is 96. Negative times negative is a positive. All right, this is a big one here. Now you can pause and try, or you can cheat. You know it's got to be x and x. 247. That's a big one. You'd have to start trying, right? 247 divided by 2, divided by 3, divided by 4, divided by 5, till you get something that works, and then see if you can get a 6 out of it. Eventually, you're going to get to the number 13. And it's 13 times 19. And you go, well, let's give it a shot. That might work because 19 minus 13 is 6, right? Now, I said if it's a negative, they're going to be different signs. If this is negative, then the negative goes with the bigger number, so let's put it with the bigger number. X times x squared, minus 19 plus 13, negative 247. That works. This one, x squared minus 64. Now, you could get a hint from, back here. We had one that came out with just two things right here. And notice when there's only two, they're going to be the same in both, except one's positive, one's negative in the middle. That's how you eliminate that middle term. So here, you know it's got to be the same number, x, and 8 and 8. Well, that works out good, right? Because 8 times 8 is 64. And then make one positive and one negative, and that'll work. X times x squared, plus 8x minus 8x, right? And then minus 64. Same with this one. Okay, it's got to be the same in both. So the only way we get a 9x squared would be 3x and 3x. A 1 is 1 times 1. Make one positive and one negative, and then try it. 9x squared minus 3x plus 3x, and then minus 1. That works. Now these last two are really challenging, okay, because with this 4 in the front, you got an extra problem. But one thing you can do is if you see that 4, but then they're all divisible by 4, like this case, take that 4 out first. 4, take that out. X squared plus x minus, and 80 divided by 4 is 20. That'll make it a lot easier. If you can take the number out of all of them, divide it out, right? I took it out of all three. You can do that. Okay, we'll leave that out front there. Okay, so we got x, and then to get a 20, I'm going to do 5 and 4. I could have done 2 and 10, 1 and 20, but I know it's got to be a difference of 1 in the middle, so that's why I did 5 and 4. Okay, different signs, I knew that, right? It's positive middle, so we're going to put the plus and the minus, and you can try it and it'll work. Last one of these. Now to get a 2x squared, you got to have a 2x and an x. Okay? To get a 28, there's a lot of stuff a lot of ways you could do this, right? But to get a 28, I'm going to go with a 4 and a 7. Okay? Let's try 4 and 7. Now, if you go, okay, I know 4 and 7 is 28. That's all right. But let's try it here. Let's put the 4 here and the 7 here. 2x squared, well, and it's different, minus plus. Just try it. 2x squared minus 14x plus 4x. Oh, we already know it's not going to work. Minus 28. So it kind of worked here. It worked there, but the middle numbers aren't right. Negative 14 plus 4. Okay? So you go, okay, let's try something different. Let's try the 4 and the 7, but let's try the 7 here and the 4 there. Okay? And let's put this minus this plus. Let's try that. 2x times x plus 8x minus 7x. Ooh, that's closer, right? Minus 28. But this becomes a positive 1. It should be a negative 1. So the way to fix that, let's just try. Let's go back here. Let's make this the positive, and we'll make this one. Actually, let me just undo. Let's make this one the positive, this one the negative. Now let's try it. 2x times x, 2x squared, minus 8x, plus 7x, minus 28. Okay, so that works. All right, last little part here, solving these quadratics. Now we're going to combine those things together. And here's how you solve a quadratic. It's got to be equal to 0. Then you're going to factor that side. Okay, so x. Did we do this one? Minus 9x plus 20? I feel like there was one that had a 20 at the end. Oh, we did, but it didn't have a 9x. Okay. But 5 plus 9, 5 plus 4 is 9, so let's do the 5 and the 4. This is a plus, which means the same sign. That's a minus, so it's negative. X squared minus 5x minus 4x plus 20, that'll work. Now, once you get it factored right, then you're going to set each of these equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0, and x minus 5 equals 0. And then you're going to solve these separate little equations. Plus 4. So x could equal 4. And plus 5, x could equal 5. So with quadratic equations, there are 2 possible answers. And your 2 answers are a 4 or a 5. And if you don't believe me, you could try it. Put a 4 squared minus 9 times 4 plus 20. That will equal 0. All right, this one doesn't equal 0, so I'm going to start by subtracting the 135 from both sides. And you're going to get x squared plus 6x minus 135 equals 0. And then you're going to factor it. So x and x. To get a 135, let's see here. Let's try. Now you could try on your own first, see what numbers can multiply to 135. I'm going to do I was thinking of 5 times something, but that's not going to work. Let's do a 15 and a 9. Different signs, and let's put the plus, minus, x squared, minus 9, plus 15, that'll work, minus 135, that'll work. So if we set each of these equal to 0, x plus 15 equals 0, I get x equals negative 15. X minus 9 equals 0, add 9 to both sides, I get x equals 9. So negative 15 and 9. Okay, this one here, we're going to subtract the x and subtract the 24. Minus x minus 24 from both sides. So we get x squared minus 10x minus 24 equals 0. And we need to factor it. So we get x, 24. I could do 12 and 2, I think. Because 12 minus 2 is 10. Yeah, let's do that. 12 and 2, different signs. We'll make this in the negative, this is the positive. So x minus 12 equals 0. So x is 12 is one answer. x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2, we get x equals negative 2. There's our other answer. This one, we're going to subtract the 12x and add the 36 to both sides, minus 12x plus 36. So we get x squared minus 12x plus 36 equals 0. And then we'll factor it. We get x. And I want to say 6 minus 6 minus 6. I think that'll work. Minus 6 minus 6. X squared minus 6 minus 6. We give you that. Plus, yep, that works. X minus 6 equals 0 is x equals 6. And it's the same thing, so I don't have to do it a second time. X equals 6. Okay, last two. First we have to multiply these together, then get the 6 over there. So x squared minus 4x plus x minus 4 equals 6. Add that 6 to both sides and combine our like terms. And we get x squared minus 3x, right? Put those together. Plus 2 equals 0. And then we'll factor it. X. And then 2 and a 1. 2 times 1. And both minus. So we get that positive at the end and the negative in the middle. So x minus 2 equals 0. And x minus 1 equals 0. So x equals 2. And x equals 1. Last question, we're going to subtract those over. So you end up with 2x squared minus 3x plus 9 equals 0. And factor that one. We get a 2x and an x. And for the 9, let's go with a... Let's try 3 and 3. Let's see here. They got to be the same sign. Yeah, let's try that. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 6 minus 3. Oh, you know what? I know what I did wrong. That wasn't working out right, and I couldn't figure out what it was. My bad. I hope I didn't make any other mistakes in here. I was subtracted 3. I had to subtract the 9. There we go. Now let's try it. 2x, x. I still want to do the 3 and the 3. But it's a minus, which means one's going to be... Yeah, so let's do minus and plus. So 2x squared minus 6 plus 3. Give me that. Good. Perfect. There we go. All right, so now each of them equaling 0. X minus 3 equals 0 means x could equal 3. Add 3 to both sides. 2x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract the 3. 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2, and we get x equals negative 3 halves. And we'll just leave it like that. There's all your answers to all those. Only took a little bit of time, 28 minutes. Hopefully you followed along. And I know I went real fast on that, real fast. But hopefully you remembered some of that from Algebra 1.